In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the waste from making this card, which is our first video in the collection for the JND512, to make this card here. So we've basically used the waste from making this one to make this one. We've also done a little bit of embossing with the die, which is always a really clever technique to do with a solid die. So it's all made using JND512 Wave FrameMaker, which is 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, which has been used for the smaller frame on here. But the larger frame has been made using JND513, the Daisy FrameMaker. In combination, give you the most beautiful frames, just like that, or here, beautiful in this blue and white. So let's see how this card is made. This is a great technique to do, and it's made using the waste, as we said, from making this card. So I want to use again that Wave FrameMaker die set, and I want to use just that internal panel. And again, I've already made up a frame, but what I'm going to do is just simply use this panel and the waste pieces from making the paper pieced card. So this is one idea of something that we can do using those waste pieces. So here I've got the pieces from the last card, and these are in 3 of the shades, and there's 4 shades in this winter brown. So I've taken a piece here that's actually of the lightest. So I've gone from the darkest through to virtually the lightest. And what we want to do is we want to use the die as an embossing folder for this. So I'm simply going to place the die down on the card as I would do as if I was cutting it. And we don't want this to cut. So the sandwich I'm using for this, and it depends on your machine, is the embossing sandwich. So for my machine, it's a 5mm plate. It's the Crafts 2 sort of, this is originally started as a glue mat. It's a silicone mat, which is perfect for embossing or quilting. I'm just going to place that down. I'm going to pop my plate on top, and I'm simply going to run that through my die cutting machine. So that's been run through my die cutting machine. And what you'll see is, because we put a piece of the silicone in there, and it's a thick sort of 3mm silicone mat, it actually stops the die from cutting. It can't cut as there's nothing hard to cut on. So when I peel this off, you can see straight away we've effectively turned it into an embossing folder, and we've quilted it. We could take a piece from the die cut piece, and we can just drop that on, and you can see there you've got it as if it's been embossed or quilted. But for this, I just want to change it round a little bit. So I'm going to take all 3 colours, and I'm going to start with the darkest shade, and then I'm going to glue on top the next shade down, and I'm just moving it down slightly to offset it. I then take the lighter shade, and again just move it down to offset it. So I get all those different colours of waves going through there. I've got a piece here where I've glued 2 together. So I'm going to take the 3rd piece. I'm adding a little bit of spray glue onto that. And again, I'm just going to drop that down. There we go. So that it's adhered down. I actually thought that one was glued down, but isn't. So let's take another piece, and let's just do the same thing again. Just drop it down like that. Gives us a nice solid background of all the different colours. So now I'm just going to use some foam tape. And pop this all the way around close to the pattern. This will be framed using the FrameMaker dies, so I don't need to worry about it being neat. That's why you can see here I've used scraps to make it. So we'll just pop that onto there. This die would make an absolutely beautiful shaker card. You could fill certain elements of it and then put elements behind. Let's just trim off this excess that we don't need, and then we'll reveal our foam tape. And the reason we did the quilting on the back was just so that we could have a little bit of texture in there, so it's not quite so flat. So line the design up, and again then offset the pattern slightly. So you can see here I've just offset that so that you see in the back the pattern that's actually been embossed. To complete this, we just need to take then, I've got a frame cut here in the lighter, I've got a frame cut here in the darker. I make a lot of these frames up at the same time. That's why I love the FrameMaker dies, because I can make a lot of frames up very quickly and finish off pieces that I've done, or neaten up backgrounds and things like that so beautifully. So I'm just going to trim that down, just like that. There we go. I've got that piece all ready. And again, remove the tape. And then hover over, and you're framing that last layer. But you can see that all that depth that you've got into there. So again, I've just got a nice white card blank to bring the white back in. A little bit of glue on the back, and we'll just pop that onto our card blank. This is 5.5 by 7.5, just like that. And again, you could bring in a few little flowers like that just to finish it off, and I would add those using glue gel. This is really important to use when you've actually got different levels on your card. So obviously this one is going to glue into the background, so I'm putting a larger blob on so that again it sits quite proud. And I've used 3 of the colours from that work there. I happen to have got a spare leaf in that lighter shade, so we can tuck that in. And now again, I'll just put a little sentiment strip just from there, nice and simple. But that makes us a beautiful card made from waste. So the waste from making this card made us this card. If you'd like to see more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, or a gallery of cards made with all these dies, why not join the John Next Door official page on Facebook.